No, no, no. This is really sad. This is sad. This is sad. This is really sad. Especially to my Nigerian nurses and midwives practicing currently in the UK. They are likely to lose their PIN. Oh, this is sad. This is really bad news. Anyway, welcome to my channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the latest news is that 512 Nigerian midwives and nurses are likely to lose their PIN because there has been a fraudulent activity that has been noticed back in Nigeria in one of their test centers.
You know just what you do to me. Play my emotions like a pair of...
So, before internationally educated professionals can join the NMC register, which is the Nursing and Midwifery Council in the UK, and practice, they normally need to partake in two-part tests. One of them is the CBT test, and the other one is OSCE. Normally the OSCE is written in the UK, which is the practical aspect, and the CB test, which is the computer-based test, that one is written back home. So if you're an African, Asian, or from the Caribbean, you are mandated to take part in this two-part test. If you are a nurse or a midwife and you want to join the NMC register in the UK and practice here. So one of the test centers in Nigeria, which is Ibadan, the Pearson View has alerted the NMC that there has been a fraudulent activity that has been carried out. So if it's your first time hearing Pearson View is an international organization that normally organizes examination centers for most international professional bodies outside. So when it comes to Pearson View, they are in charge of the CBT test. In terms of the CBT test, the Pearson View stands in for the NMC Council. So the sad part is that anybody who is practicing currently as a nurse or midwife in the UK and wrote his or her CBT test in Ibadan is going to be affected. That means there was a fraudulent activity during their time. So according to the NMC, these 512 nurses and midwives who are currently practicing in the UK are all under investigation because they all wrote their CBT test in Ibadan, Nigeria. But then if you're in Nigeria or if you're currently practicing in the UK and you wrote your CB test in a different test center which is not Ibadan, then you are not part of this bad news. But those that wrote their CBT test in Ibadan, they are the ones that are currently under investigation. According to the NMC, more than 500 people have already started the application process, which all of them wrote their test in Ibadan. So at the moment, their application process has also been paused. This is sad. This is really sad. And also those who have already booked their test at Ibadan cannot write their CBT test at the moment because that test center has been closed. So the NMC and the Pearson View are carrying out investigation even on the 512 nurses and midwives who are already in the UK practicing. They've given them the option to write the CBT test again, but then they are not going to pay. The Pearson View is going to take care of that cost. They are not going to pay. But even if they still go ahead to write the CBT test again, that doesn't guarantee the fact that they are going to still get their PIN. They are just going to use that as a yardstick to continue with their investigation. But currently, the NMC is saying that there is still hope because they believe that all these 512 nurses and midwives came into the UK to write their OSCE exam. The OSCE is the practical aspect, and they all passed, and there hasn't been any negligence in their practices ever since their pins were given to them. But still, investigation is going to be carried out. The Pearson View has also stated that they have reviewed all their test centers globally, and the only test center that they noticed that there has been a fraudulent activity was Ibadan, which is one of the test centers in Nigeria. So if you're a Nigerian and you wrote your CBT test in Ibadan, then you are in a big trouble. But then, having said that, my prayers goes out to those who wrote their CBT test and passed without any fraudulent activity. I pray that the Almighty God would vindicate you guys. My advice is those who are waiting to go and write their CBT test at Ibadan, it's advisable that you go to a different test center to write it. And also those that have started their application process and it has been paused, it is my prayer that you guys would be vindicated and your application process will go through. And also those who are already, the 512 nurses and midwives who are already in the UK currently practicing, I pray that you guys would also be vindicated, especially if you wrote, you know within yourself that you wrote without any fraudulent means. And normally I know that there are cameras within test centers, so definitely they will go through all those things, and you guys, I know you will definitely be vindicated so long as you wrote it without any fraudulent means. I pray that let's all trust in God that this will be solved, and then the 500 and the over 500 people on the awaiting list would continue with the application process,